What is the real constitution of a free people?
What is the Constitution?
Which one?
What is it that we've been taught is the Constitution in school? I mean, obviously, in school, the Constitution is a piece of paper that people, okay. The law of the land. Okay. Yeah, so when I went to school, we were taught that the Constitution is just simply a piece of paper that people that enjoyed freedom a long time ago came up with in order for a government to follow to protect and enforce our freedom. But what if the real Constitution was something else entirely? What if the real Constitution was actually non-physical? So that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about that the Constitution we've been led to believe is real is actually false. It's actually a false idol that people are putting up on a pedestal to avoid taking personal responsibility for their own lives. So this paper Constitution is simply just an externalization, and a pretty weak externalization of the real one. The real Constitution is an inner constitution. So this inner constitution under natural law is actually what provides real freedom, true freedom in the world. Not this paper constitution under man's law. That's not what creates freedom. So we could clearly see how the paper constitution, I feel like I'm saying constitution a lot, but that's the entire topic. But we could clearly see how it's failed in a lot of different incidents that we've seen across the world. For example, the Canadian Freedom Convoy, all those protesters were wanting their constitutional rights to be acknowledged and respected. Peaceful protesters came out to protest the vax mandates. No weapons, but the police came out with sniper rifles and assault rifles and frequency weapons and pepper spray, and they were very liberal in their use of it as well, and even made fun of the protesters they brutalized on social media afterwards. So goes to show where their consciousness is. There's also the supposed Capitol insurrection on January 6th. People protesting election results. How well did the paper constitution work during that scenario? There's still people being held indefinitely in jail that these police officers, were happy to arrest, because ultimately they were just order followers. And a lot of these people, they have no interest in actually upholding their oath. In reality, they'll do whatever is necessary to keep that paycheck coming in. And that's the brutal truth. And, they need to be called out on it, obviously. So those are some of the situations where this paper constitution under man's law has failed us. And people have put all their trust into it. They think that through the judicial system, if they just trust the system, that they're just going to be automatically protected and they don't have to do anything on their part to enforce their own rights. All the police officers and all the judges are just going to automatically do the right thing, and they just hope that this will be the case, when their life is on the line. But we can clearly see that that's not good enough. So let's get more into what the real Constitution is. And the real Constitution requires being the opposite of what the bulk of humanity. Yeah, good idea. So, so much better. I could actually stand up straight. Okay, so the inner constitution is the opposite of what the bulk of humanity has been conditioned into becoming. And the opposite of that, so you're wanting to become the opposite of being an apathetic, lazy, ignorant coward, basically. So as long as you do that, you have a good constitution that actually helps to bring about freedom and to maintain it. But authoritarians love when people put paper constitutions on a pedestal. Do you guys have any idea why they want people to buy into this idea that their constitution under man's law can protect them? Yeah, basically. They do it so that they abdicate their personal responsibility. They don't try to improve themselves in any way. They don't try to acquire knowledge. They don't really try to undergo any sort of personal transformation in a way that would improve their lives. It keeps them apathetic. It keeps them from looking too deeply into things. And it keeps them inactive. So ultimately, that's the reason. So what is the opposite of being an apathetic, lazy, ignorant coward? The opposite is being an engaged, caring, active, knowledgeable, honorable person. And that's actually what the real Constitution is. And that's a lot of work. That takes a lot of time to cultivate. None of us are perfect. If you're on the path of personal development, you're always trying to do everything you can to continuously craft yourself into that kind of person, but it is difficult. And there's a lot of people you can't tell this, because in the face of all that work and all that challenge, it's no wonder that people want to idolize a paper constitution and think that thing out there, outside of myself, I'm not good enough. I can't become that person. So that explains why they want to put their faith and make an idol, a golden calf, out of this paper constitution under man's law. But that could never give them what they want in reality. Because the type of people that we're dealing with, they're not ignorant people. At least at the top. These dark occultists that Dustin was talking about, these ancient psychologists. They're not ignorant people. They're not lazy people. They're not apathetic. They're not cowardly. In fact, they act very boldly in what they do. And they're very confident in their agenda. And they actually have a vision for the world. They have an end goal. There is a certain way. They think in terms of generations, not just in terms of what can I get, within these next few years or within these next few weeks. They think very long term. How far in advance does the average person think? A couple minutes? Like, am I feeling good right now? If not, no, then hit the booze. Hit the booze, hit the joint, whatever. Whatever I could do to get away from my mind to feel good now. And that's a huge problem. Because when you put that person, you put the average Joe against these dark occultists that know exactly what's going on, the dark occultists, the forces of evil, are going to win every single time. Because they have the right constitution. But the difference is they're using the constitution in order to create more chaos and evil in the world. And something else I wanted to mention is these psychopathic controllers never ask for permission for what they do. So why are we asking for permission? They're acting boldly. They're not in fear. What's our excuse?
Not organized yet.
Yeah, that's part of it. Organization is very important, and we need to be on the same page as far as morality goes. We need to understand natural law, the self-defense principle, and the non-aggression principle.
We're also all still mind controlled. Like Dustin
We need to be our own authorities.
It's like
Yeah.
we're still all under, and it's just different levels.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's still a lot more mind control to break. So there are reasons, but ultimately, you have to care more about your own freedom than they care about your slavery. And as long as they care more about your slavery than you care about your own freedom, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? You're just going to go deeper and deeper into slavery. It couldn't be any other way. That's natural law. Those are the rules of the game. It's God's law. Can't change it. It's unbinding. Or it's totally binding. I mean, man's law is not totally binding. All right, what else do I have here? So we need to bring back the real Constitution and realize that what we've been led to believe will protect and enforce our rights is just an externalization of the real thing. It's just a piece of paper. You know, I've never been able to defend myself with a piece of paper. I don't know about you guys. You know, it doesn't act very good as a shield. It doesn't stop bullets like Neo in the Matrix.
Covers rock.
Yeah, it covers rock. I mean, the best you could do is probably give your adversary some paper cuts. So, I mean, that counts for something. Yeah, there you go. But other than that, I mean, there's not much you could do. I mean, especially if your adversary has a gun, you have a piece of paper, not much of a fight. But if we develop the real internal constitution that guarantees freedom under natural law, then that is a force to be reckoned with. So that is something that I've been thinking about these last couple days. So I hope I helped expand some of your guys' mind, some of your minds, and you can definitely chew on this for a while. So that's basically all I have. We have any comments or questions? Yeah. Yeah, they do. It's a false sense of security, though. And the reason why they enjoy their slavery is because they think they're going to remain safe that way. But that's because they don't have enough knowledge as to what's actually going on in the real world to understand that you'll never find safety in slavery. Yeah.
And they like doing the work. It's like, and then I don't, it's like a take.
Security.
Yeah.
They're in
It's
the
a security.
familiar. I mean, we choose the familiar. If it's negative, if it's positive, we say yes to the familiar.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
subconscious
Mhm.
brain saying yes to the familiar over fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the fear, you got the mind control, and you got the subconscious brain saying yes to everything that's familiar.
Yeah. It's always a combination between fear and ignorance, and fear and ignorance, they play off each other. So the more fearful you are, the more ignorant you'll tend to be, because you'll be too fearful to look into information to understand what's actually going on in the world. And also, if you're very ignorant and don't know what's going on, then the unknown is fear-inducing. But once you get a better picture as to what's actually going on in the world, the fear tends to dissipate and disappear. So that's fear and ignorance just playing off each other.
I wanted to thank you for sharing all of this. I too have been thinking a lot about these concepts and where our real power is and how it's not outside of ourselves. So
Yeah.
it's good to not feel alone here. That we're all waking up to our own power little by little.
Yeah. It's awesome.
That's why you're here.
I like the title of your speech is "What is the Real Constitution of Freedom of the People?" And I wish you had asked us, what does constitute mean?
Yeah.
What constitutes you? And you got closer to it. I mean, you nailed it. It's the opposite of apathy, ignorance, and fear. So be courageous. And really, for me, the opposite of ignorance is not knowledge. I don't really believe that we can get knowledge. I think we can get working assumptions that get closer and closer to real knowledge. And if that's the scientific method, that's a whole different speech. But the opposite of ignorance is really attentiveness. So pay attention, be courageous, love your neighbors.
I think it has a lot to do with intention too. The pursuit of truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-realization, realizing yourself.
Yeah. Because what most people do, they have no interest in the truth at all. Most people.
Just have up.
Yeah.
They said something cool about the love that they're all doing to y'all. They said it comes down to love. Yeah. That was huge to me.
I just stole a piece of his wire right when she said that.
Don't steal, yeah.
He said, that's mine.
Don't steal.
Very sharing.
And something about apathy too. You know, if you're not actively engaged with the world at all, you know, how are you stealing in that case? Well, you're failing to provide the world with the gifts that you potentially have to contribute to their greater good. You know?
Learn the lessons that you came here to learn.
Yeah.
Stealing from your own future.
You're stealing from yourself, and you're stealing from other people by not providing to the world your gifts.
Soul masturbation.
Yeah. Soulsturbation. There we go. Thank you, Coach. All right, I don't know how we're doing on time, but I'm happy to just keep answering questions or respond to comments.
Ask about this, a couple questions, say leave them on people their legacy or ultimate vision for humanity continue.
Which people?
Sun power.
Oh, said power? Well, that depends on us. I mean, it depends
Do
if...
they have like a plan to keep it going? Because like realistically, let's say they leave the body, do they turn to like AI before then, or like is that like what does that look like? Like, does their group just die with them, or is there enough?
They're doing everything to hold on. They're doing everything to parasitically
Yeah.
hold on to our life force, to keep feeding off of us, you know, doing everything they
Yeah.
can. Eventually we have to move through the bifurcation, and eventually that has to fall away. We cannot go where we're going. Just cannot.
Well,
Consciousness.
just the whole idea of transhumanism kind of tells me that it makes me suspicious that on some level they know that they're screwing up. You know, because otherwise, why would you be trying so hard to extend your life? You know, so maybe they're afraid of some karmic consequences they might experience after death, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't run in those circles.
You weren't invited.
I wasn't invited. No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, okay, there's a political scientist named James Payne. He wrote a book called The History of Force, and it's the first time that I saw somebody really look at history to see if we're making progress. His conclusion is, yeah, we're making progress. There is less and less, a lower and lower per capita death rate across the globe over thousands and thousands of years, because humanity is becoming less violent to itself. Not through governments. If you look at governments, it's the opposite trend. Okay, so that can give you a little hope. But my understanding of history, and Gandhi said something to this effect. Yeah, they're going to try everything they can to hold on to their power and maintain their control and all that stuff. The most powerful thing they can do is convince you that they're able to do that, because they're not.
Yeah.
And as long as you believe they are, they can keep it rolling.
That's why they're dumping stuff from the air, right? People think about chemtrails. It's because we are so powerful that they're doing that. So think about how powerful we are that they have to keep doing that. So
Look how expensive gas is right now. They're
I know,
still just
and they're
flying
still
around there.
doing it,
Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
crazy.
They don't have their vital life
budget
force.
is
They're sucking it off us. So that's the thing. They don't have what they're.
I feel like they probably have free gas.
So they need us to be ignorant. They need us to be afraid in order for them to actually continue to exist.
So
Wait, who has seen Lark and Rose's The Tiny Dog? Okay, yeah, watch that because it's explaining this.
Read or watch Lark and Rose if you haven't heard of him. I can't recommend his stuff more than right
Okay.
now.
I think the real question is, how do we make them obsolete? How do we make the psychopaths?
Ignore them. We don't
Yeah.
need them.
Recognition is
Well,
power.
what is it? What is it that we want from the current system that we want to keep, hold on to? Maybe like communications networks, maybe power. So self-sufficiency should be encouraged. If we can provide everything that all the modern conveniences that we have in society right now, and just have ourselves self-select for who the people we surround ourselves with, because we can create our own interdependent connectivity network that can be profitable for everyone on it, and it's gonna start with these conscious communities.
Freedomcells.com. Org, sorry. I should know that.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just watched a documentary and read a book about Tesla and just realizing how that old system would support Edison's but demolish and obliterate Tesla's. And I've just been thinking about how many Tesla mines do we have out in the world that aren't being tapped, that are being destroyed, whether in the university or drugs or alcohol or particularly drugs. And that's in these new communities. And then one of those, the last event that they had last week, the Alex Deck one, they had a cloud buster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do that. Here
I know,
sometime.
I want one too. I'm like, I want to put them everywhere. I want to plant fruit trees everywhere and put a cloud buster everywhere. And I just thought, that is our hope.
Hey, what's the
We have
A
so
chemtrail
many.
buster.
Really?
It's like big organized, like yeah.
Yeah, she makes
We'll talk about it. We want to have
She
an event
makes
here where we build
So
like
that's what you're talking about. We have that at our fingertips because we have brilliant minds that also aren't harmed by drugs and in the system and all that stuff. So like, I have no doubt that we're going to be able to do so much more because then the Teslas of the world won't be destroyed. We'll be putting them up to be like, yeah, do whatever, do what you see fit. And I don't know how everybody feels about Tesla, but at least
Nikolai Tesla would have single-handedly solved the energy crisis that has driven the majority of the wars in society today.
Exactly.
we do have like covered cars are being created, like right now in warehouses, and we do have anti-gravity that is working.
Oh, I'm sure we have so.
It's happening right now. So this is like David Wilcock is already, he's like working with this, Tesla, science, and they have little models that are working and stuff. So we are going to be seeing this technology. It's just going to happen. We are just going to do it on top of the nonsense.
Yeah.
We're just going to override this shit.
Yeah.
It's just like that. But we have to have every single person feeling strong like that.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Tapping
saying?
into what they
Every
are
single
doing.
person needs to be sovereign and straight with themselves. And then you go for it. So
Nothing gets done until you come out of fear.
that's right.
Oh, I can't
Thanks,
wait to
Justin.
start the
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, we're all here.
Thanks, Justin.